Sony's lack of marketing push on Marathon speaks to the lack of faith from the platform holder, says former Square Enix executive. This is an article written by Scott McCrae on Games Radar. I typically rock with Games Radar, if I'm being honest, over IGN. I've been rocking with Games Radar for like 40 years at this point, and they don't really write hit pieces like this. At least I haven't seen any like negative hit pieces like so. If they have, and I've just been out of the loop, that may be the case, but I don't know, man. Let's check this out though. Let's check this out. In quotes, Sony owns a ton of digital real estate on the PlayStation dashboards to push Marathon. And as we get into this article, it reads, a former Square Enix exec reckons Sony's lack of marketing for Marathon suggests a lack of faith in Bungie's latest game from PlayStation. On Twitter, Jacob Navok, I may have said that wrong. If I did, I apologize, man. Former director of business at Square Enix Holdings commented on Marathon's Steam player count, calling it quote unquote brutal. And while the numbers on PS5 and Xbox aren't available, Navok reckons Sony's marketing push behind the game isn't doing the job. In quote, Sony owns a ton of digital real estate on the PlayStation dashboards to push Marathon, he says, adding that its lack of marketing push to support the numbers speak to the lack of faith from the platform holder. The number one most played game by hours on Xbox this past month was Marathon. If Microsoft owned it, it would be the biggest game since Halo. Sony doesn't even try. Microsoft would have it front page and on Game Pass indefinitely. Marketing was non-existent. The least they could do is free for PS5. And this was on April 20th, 2026. Okay, I think this was the tweet, if I'm not mistaken, because I see a hyperlink here. Not 100% sure. But to continue reading on, of course, Sony has seen a few misses with live service games, but Marathon isn't quite Concord, as there is a section of players who do really seem to love its punishing gameplay loop. Actually, there's quite a few, over 40,000 reviews on Steam, partner, at like 85% rating, so it's mostly positive, but I digress there. As a user points out in the replies, Marathon was the most played game on Xbox in the past month, and when it comes to the Xbox dashboard, typically puts its full weight behind whatever the new first-party tentpole launch is. That is, much like PlayStation does for its flagship single-player games, but it hasn't here, considering Arc Raiders has been at the forefront of the PlayStation Store for the majority of the time Marathon has been out. That's not to say it's entirely on Sony. Clearly, there are a lot of people who don't really like Marathon, but when you cut through the tired, dead game comments that everyone faces, it does have a strong fan base too, albeit one that's pretty small in the live service pantheon. Hey, look, we strong, but we mighty, small but mighty, baby. The issue is that you need to support that small fan base and the game behind it if you ever want a chance at bringing it back. Final Fantasy XIV was a failure when it first launched, but Square Enix invested in it, took a look at what wasn't working for people, and now it's extremely popular and probably the only MMO that has ever challenged World of Warcraft for the genre crown. I haven't played Marathon. I don't know if it has the sauce, but it won't matter if it gets the plug pulled preemptively. Okay. Interesting read. So initially, I'm not gonna lie, I thought this was going to be like one of those doom and gloom negative hit pieces. I don't really think that was necessarily the case here. I can kind of see what this executive is saying. Again, like I went into this article just thinking like, oh, somebody else is hating. Here we go, man. Here we go with all the bull junk. But that isn't necessarily the case. Homie Jacob is saying, hey, look, like Bungie, or not Bungie, but Sony, y'all should put some more limelight on Marathon, put some more limelight on Bungie and what they got going on here, right? And I know during one of the state of plays, Marathon was showcased, and I can't remember, did they show the release date during that or not? I can't remember top of mind, but I know like Marathon had some time in the sun, which was great, right? Which was great. And I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not on PlayStation, I play on PC. I've been a PC guy for the last several years, so I don't know what's really going on in the PlayStation Store, so I can't confirm nor deny any of what homie Jacob is saying here, right? But if Marathon isn't, it doesn't have to be front page, but if Marathon is not being promoted, right, in the PlayStation Store or, across some of the Sony trailers when they put together a bunch of different games and stuff like that, I do think that's a bit of a missed opportunity, right? I do think if Marathon was a little bit more in the forefront, I'm confident a lot of people would be interested in it, right? A lot of people would see it and be like, oh, this is intriguing, right? They may not buy it or anything like that, but I think they might take a look, you know? I think what can be really, really good, or what could be really, really good, is if Sony, maybe not front page Marathon, but if Sony put Marathon in the limelight, and for PlayStation Plus subscribers, they were able to get, like, I don't know, a trial, you know? Because I believe that, don't quote me on this, but I believe on PlayStation, don't you have access to some games for some periods of time? Like there's like a 2-hour trial or something like that with PlayStation Plus. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below if that's a thing or not. If that's not a thing, then disregard that. But I think that's a thing. I think something like that could be cool with Marathon. Now, I would put an asterisk next to that and say 2 hours of this game is not a direct representation of what the game is, because it takes more time to even know what the heck is going on, right? So maybe even, you know, Bungie can coordinate with Sony and do some free weekends, right? Where, you know, PlayStation players can play Marathon for free over the weekend. They have access to Perimeter and or Dire Marsh, or you have access up to level 15 and then you got to purchase it or something like that, right? Just to get people's whistles wet. Because again, I think Marathon, and to preface, people found out about Arc Raiders just through the virality of it, right? Through TikTok, through social media. TikTok is social media, duh, but just across the board, right? The virality of Arc Raiders was the thing that really made it pop, right? Marathon doesn't quite have that virality, and that's all good. That's all good. So what we need to do for Marathon is we just need to put it in front of people's faces. Like, I can almost promise you, if you walk down the street and you met 100 people and they all casually play video games, if you asked them if they heard of Marathon, probably majority of them would say no, right? Some of them may say, oh, I think I have. Some may say, oh yeah, it's the game Bungie made, right? Like, but a lot of people haven't even heard of Marathon, right? We hear the loud minority on Twitter or on Reddit, and they're like, oh, Marathon is great, or oh, dude, that game is slop, it's this, that, and the third, screw Bungie. Like, that is a loud minority, believe it or not. And the majority of people have no idea what this game even is. And I can almost guarantee you that all people that are super, super casual that have not heard of this game, like, it's assumed that they're going to play and be like, oh, this is stupid. No, I'm losing stuff, whatever. But there are a lot of people out there that are casuals that enjoy loops like this, that enjoy playing tough games. And if you don't believe me when it comes to that, think about all the casual individuals that will jump in and play the Bloodborns or the Dark Souls games, right? Or the Souls genre in general, because Dark Souls became so lit, it became a genre. Trust me when I say all the people that buy those games, that buy the Dark Souls games, and I don't know how many copies they've sold, I can safely assume tens of millions, all those people aren't sweatlord tryhards. They're just not, right? They're just not. Some people just are a little bit, for lack of a better term, masochistic in nature. You know, they enjoy getting beat up, or they enjoy trying to learn and figure things out on their own. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the reason why Call of Duty is still one of the best-selling games to date. Now, the last one was not by a long shot, but another convo for another day, right? No matter if people get beat up or not, like, people enjoy like playing games that are challenging. And again, maybe Call of Duty wasn't the best analogy because it's been going downhill and SBMM, so a lot of the guppies are protected, etc. But I think you all understand what I'm saying here. I just think Marathon just needs to get put in front of people. You put Marathon in front of people, there will be people that will bounce for sure, that'll be like, oh no, I'd much rather play, you know, something that's going to be really relaxed. Like, give me Animal Crossings, bro. You know what I'm saying? But there will be people that'll play and be like, dang, bro, I'm getting cooked, but I kind of like it, man. The colors is cool. The guns feel good. I'm getting whooped, but man, I kind of like it. And they may spend most of their time in, like, I don't know, like the sponsored playlist or the sponsored queue, if that ever becomes permanent, right? I don't know, but all in all, I do think like a greater like market, it doesn't even have to be marketing push, but just putting Marathon in front of people more and more so that the familiarity with the game can grow, give people the opportunity to see the trailers. Like, yo, Bungie put out a lot of heat leading up to the release of the game, man. Like, I don't know if you all paid attention on YouTube or not, but like every single day they would drop a new YouTube short every day, and it would be this ominous weird thing, or it'd be like of one of the factions. So like one sure to be Gaius talking, Gaius have a dialogue. The next one might be Oni. The next one might be Charter, right? So Bungie did this rollout that was dope, but I can guarantee you like majority of people never seen that stuff like at all. And I think it would be beneficial for Sony if they found some way to get that in front of people's eyes more. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking too surface level on this. Maybe it's much more complicated than this. That very well can be the case, but from what I've seen through my lens, yeah, Bungie's been swinging for the fences to put the game out in front of everybody, but at the end of the day, Sony, y'all want to re-up on that 3.6 billion investment? Hey, get some of that free advertising going on. I know it's not free, but again, you all understand what I'm saying here. So with this all being said though, now is where I hand the mic over to you all. What do you all think about this? Do you all think Sony is not supporting Bungie to the degree that they could be? Do you all think this is a marketing issue, a word of mouth issue, a virality issue? I would love to hear it all in the comments below. Please, please, please do not hesitate to comment. I read all the comments. I may not get a chance to reply to every single one, but I read as many as possible. I love to hear what you all have to say about it. And with that being said, I'ma shut up and call it a night. So I love you all. Thank you all so much for coming and watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.